Off to jail. A judge orders Sean Diddy Combs held without bail until he faces trial in his federal sex trafficking case. Clamping down, a widespread security perimeter goes up around the Nassau Coliseum ahead of Donald Trump's rally there in the wake of a second assassination attempt. And scientists map out what pregnancy really does to the brain of a mother-to-be, what it means for understanding pregnancy and postpartum.
From ABC-7 New York, this is Eyewitness News Extra Time.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of Eyewitness News Extra Time. I'm Joe Torres. We begin with the spectacular fall of a music mogul. Tonight, Sean Diddy Combs heads to jail. He will wait behind bars for his trial in his federal sex trafficking case after a magistrate ordered him held without bail in a case that accuses him of masterminding a seedy empire of sexual crimes. Police arrested him yesterday. The charges: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation for prostitution. Prosecutors accuse Combs of inducing female victims and male sex workers into drugged-up sexual performances dubbed freak-offs. Well, now the founder of Bad Boy Records will sit behind bars ahead of what will be a highly publicized trial. Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson has the story.
Tonight, Sean Diddy Combs is behind bars in a federal lockup following a day of shocking developments involving the case surrounding the disgraced music mogul.
I think that we made the points that we've been wanting to make. I think it came out. Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of the charges. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything.
Once considered hip-hop royalty, authorities maintained for years Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women, all to fulfill his sexual desires and protect his reputation. The 54-year-old is now charged with, among other things, racketeering, sex trafficking, and interstate transportation for prostitution. Authorities say since at least 2009, Combs arranged and sometimes recorded so-called freak-offs, alleged drug-fueled events that unfolded in hotel rooms.
The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics.
When the victims didn't comply, authorities say Combs would intimidate the women with these weapons to face AR-15s agents found inside his Miami mansion. At times, the rapper allegedly got violent, quote, hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. Officials say that's what's happening in this video showing Combs attacking his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in an LA hotel in 2016. His attorney called it a, quote, mutually toxic relationship. The video simply shows his client upset after being caught with other girlfriends. Officials say Combs needed help with those so-called freak-offs.
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
His team allegedly bought supplies for the sex parties, including, quote, drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. During the March raids of Combs' homes, authorities say they found electronic devices with images and videos of multiple victims. And that's not all.
Cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs. More than 1,000 bottles altogether.
In terms of bail, prosecutors argued Combs was a flight risk, but the defense pointed out their client's jet is up for sale and that he's getting much-needed therapy while here in New York City. In the end, the judge rejected a $50 million bail package. In Lower Manhattan, Kimberly Richardson, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Sean Diddy Combs is a New York native from Harlem. He has represented the city his entire career. Combs even received a key to the city, but New York Mayor Eric Adams took back the key because of growing allegations against him. He first came on the scene as a rapper and producer in 1993. He started Bad Boy Records at the age of 23. It's estimated he's worth $1 billion. Stay with Eyewitness News and ABC News for any new developments in the case against Sean Diddy Combs. Overseas now, schools in Lebanon will be closed tomorrow following a series of pager explosions that killed at least 9 people, including a child, and injured more than 2,000 others. The attacks hit several areas in the country, including the southern suburbs of Beirut, which are Hezbollah strongholds. The terror group claims 6 of their members were killed in the attack. Hezbollah blames Israel and vows to respond. The Israeli Defense Force has not commented on what happened. A colossal logistics, transportation, and security plan now underway on Long Island, all of it ahead of President Trump's campaign rally tomorrow at the Nassau Coliseum. Eyewitness News reporter Stacey Sager takes a look at the monumental effort to keep everyone safe and secure.
Toting lawn chairs in this morning, these Trump supporters were hoping to be the first in line for Wednesday's rally. But here at the Nassau Coliseum, the entire perimeter will be cleared out. Any vehicles remaining towed until 8 o'clock Wednesday morning, when attendees with tickets may enter.
Every inch of that property in that perimeter, and the perimeter is as large as we need to make it, we will make sure that it is safe and it will be swept.
As for how many people will actually get inside the Coliseum, approximately 16,000 out of 60,000 tickets reportedly issued online by the Trump campaign. John Hubbard with 2 of them.
A friend of mine went to one in Virginia, and the line was around the block hours prior.
And did he get into the rally?
No.
There will be big screen TVs in the parking lot and on the plaza. There will be food trucks there. There will be porta potties there.
County executive explaining that while Trump pays for the production inside, taxpayers foot the bill for an entire day's worth of security outside. And county Democrats are not happy.
It's not a 2 or 3 hour debate. This is a full day of outside events. I can't even imagine what the total cost is going to be.
Is there an estimated price tag for the security on this?
We don't put price tags on protecting presidential candidates and foreign dignitaries and the general public. That's something that we budget for.
Bruce Blakeman describing what he called a small army of security, at least a dozen different units from Nassau, and outside assistance as well from these different law enforcement agencies. And then there's the traffic. Expect road closures in and around the Coliseum and Hempstead Turnpike. Nevertheless, Trump supporters are here.
I did my time in the police department, the U.S. Army in Germany, and I'm a very strong conservative Republican.
Here for the duration.
And given the fact that there have been 2 attempted assassinations of the former president, expect a long list of things you cannot bring here on Wednesday. If you want the full list, you can go to ABC7NY. The parking lots open at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. The doors to the Coliseum open at 3 p.m. and the rally starts at 7 p.m. In Uniondale, I'm Stacey Sager, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
As for the Democrats, Vice President Kamala Harris sat down today with members of the National Association of Black Journalists in Philadelphia for a panel discussion. Ms. Harris was not able to attend the organization's annual convention 6 weeks ago in Chicago. Mr. Trump did attend. He participated in an interview with NABJ members, including ABC's Rachel Scott. Harris spoke about how she would lead the country if she became the 47th president of the United States of America.
My plan for the economy includes what I imagine and believe and call an opportunity economy. What we can do to grow an opportunity economy where all people have access to the resources to compete, to apply their incredible work ethic, their ambition, their aspirations, and their dreams, and actually not just get by, but get ahead.
Harris also said she called former President Donald Trump this afternoon to speak with him directly, to say she is grateful he is safe following the assassination attempt against him over the weekend. As we continue with Eyewitness News Extra Time, how does pregnancy change the brain? The new clues uncovered by a brand new study. You'll meet one of the study's authors, who was also a participant. There is some new science to back up pregnancy brain. According to a study published in the journal Nature Neuroscience, pregnancy causes more changes to a woman's brain than was previously known. Researchers tracked brain changes in one healthy first-time mother, then compared them to 8 women who were not pregnant. In the pregnant woman, they found decreases in brain tissues that control sensations like speech, thinking, and memory, but they found increases in other areas that help the brain communicate and process information. Researchers say it is a good first step to understanding much more about whole brain changes that could be possible in a woman throughout pregnancy and beyond. Joining us now with more is neuroscientist Dr. Liz Crastill. She is not only one of the authors of that study, she was the pregnant woman at the center of it. And Dr. Crastill, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.
Your study maps how a woman's brain changes throughout pregnancy. It's the first sort of detailed insight into this transformation, if you will. What was it like? The study is over and you see the results and the changes that unfolded in your own brain. How do you separate the reaction from you, the researcher, and you, the participant?
That's a great question. Thanks. Well, it was a really exciting time, and it was great that we didn't do it while it was happening. So we only got to see the results afterwards. So it was well after it was happening. And so, you know, personally, I didn't actually experience any sort of mommy brain kinds of things or brain fog. My pregnancy was pretty standard and you know, easy, so to speak. But of course, it was, you know, months and months of sort of this unfolding. And so, you know, definitely felt a little different by the end, sort of ready to have this baby. But what's sort of remarkable here is that, you know, these are really subtle changes. They're widespread, but they are, you know, subtle sort of retuning and sort of fine tuning is what we're thinking about it. Not necessarily a bad thing, right? So even though there's some loss, you know, some volume reduction, we liken it to something like during adolescence, when there's also these sort of changes in rewiring and a similar volume reduction in the brain, which is actually adaptive to what you need to do. So it's just sort of a change in life, and it's a very natural process. And so we're you know, thinking that it's really the first understanding what's going on here.
Well, doctor, if my understanding is correct, this was a 3-year study. You just pointed out that you didn't see the results until the end. Was it designed that way so that you don't get results as you're going, so that nothing changes in terms of diet, sleep pattern, other aspects of your life?
Right. Yeah. So we don't want to you know, get a hint and then sort of do something, you know, different that I should be doing, right? Different. So this is really just to see what happens, you know, as it occurs naturally. And so what's really new here is seeing what changes during pregnancy. So there were sort of the pre and post, sort of before and after images, which found some of these changes, but we found some really interesting changes that happened during pregnancy itself. So this increase in what's called the white matter, which is the connections between brain areas, found increases in the connectivity quality. And those were unexpected and really new findings. And so again, we think these are adaptive in some way. We don't really know how yet, but we're excited to know more in the future as we collect more data. We have more people enrolling, and we're looking beyond this.
Doctor, you mentioned the white matter, but you also found a significant reduction in gray matter during pregnancy. That might sound alarming to some. Explain to me why it isn't, and how this reduction potentially enhances, I guess, brain efficiency for motherhood.
Exactly. Yeah. So we don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. We don't necessarily know what it is right now. And that's what's sort of exciting about this in some sense. You know, again, we think it's a fine tuning, which could help be associated with maternal care in the future, or being able to be more sensitive to, you know, certain like cries or sounds or smells or things like that. And we're really thinking about this too for things like postpartum depression.
Right.
And so things like who's going to be more liable to have postpartum depression if we see differences in these changes between people. So some people might have bigger changes or littler changes, and that might be then later on be important for postpartum or other things like preeclampsia, like how does that change the brain and have long-term effects?
Yeah, but I guess that's a follow-up question, doctor. I mean, this study was unique because it monitored those changes, and it's described as a good first step. But yeah, the follow-up becomes, yeah, what is this maternal brain project? Where do you go from here? You've got the results now, especially when you're looking at the condition that you just talked about, postpartum.
Yeah, exactly. So we think this study opens more questions than it answers. And so we're collecting more people now with a similar sort of dense sampling, looking across the duration of pregnancy. But we're also expanding to look at a lot more women with fewer time points and to look at things like have a whole more variety of outcomes like postpartum pregnancy. Some people have preeclampsia, some people have gestational diabetes and things like that. So trying to see if we can relate some of those changes. So really, this is, again, just opening the door to a whole new area of research, because we have had almost no knowledge at all about what happens during the brain when you're pregnant. And so we're just, again, just scratching the surface of this whole area.
And real quick, before we say goodbye, you had a boy or a girl?
A boy. He's 4.5 now.
Oh, that's fantastic. And congratulations. Thank you, Dr. Liz Krastill from the University of California, Irvine. Appreciate the insight and for being with us tonight. As we continue with Eyewitness News Extra Time, how about this? Students from our area taking time out of their summer break to study in a trip of a lifetime. Find out about their experiences and what they learned next. A group of students from our area spent a good portion of their summer break in Costa Rica. The students went there to help restore public schools while they learned about global issues such as climate change and poverty. The kids also cooked traditional dishes. They learned about the economic and social structure of the country. They even milked some cows and harvested coffee. The Global Kids nonprofit made the educational trip a reality. The organization partners with schools to offer an array of services, and it helps to develop active global citizens and prepare them for success in an ever-changing world. I had the chance to speak with Leslie Cano from Global Kids and high school students Amarilis Ceballos and Dasha Melendez Garcia. Leslie, I know what it's like to plan a family vacation when there's 4 people. You guys are planning trips with how many kids went on this trip? 20 kids. Get into a little bit how this planning begins, when it begins for a trip of that magnitude.
Yes, of course. So in Global Kids, we try to expose our students to international travel. However, as you mentioned, it is a big project with 20 students. So we partner with an organization called Global Glimpse, which focuses on providing international travel opportunities. So we select the students from our organization and partner with Global Glimpse to coordinate the logistics and get our students from New York City and Washington, D.C.
It's a big job. You need pros who know how to do it, right?
Yes,
for sure. ¿Por qué Costa Rica? Why Costa Rica of a place to go?
So we try to get to countries that are showing social injustices. Okay. And for that, we wanted to select a Latin Hispanic heritage community to really impact and communicate with the students that we are trying to get on the trip.
Sure.
So for that reason, we selected Costa
Rica. So were a good number of the students who went on this trip Latino?
Yes. Okay. Yes, about half of our students were Hispanics.
Okay. And what do you hope that the kids gain from an experience like this? We'll ask them in a second, but let me ask you first.
Yes, of course. It is, I think one of the most rewarding parts of this trip is to get to see the exchange from our students, you know, having been in a local community and then exposing themselves to another country where they recognize that some of the issues that we're having here is also being met at other countries, and seeing that connection and knowing that we're all together.
Amarilis, all right, what did you learn about yourself on this trip?
I learned that I need to be more appreciative of what I've had.
Really?
Yeah, to be so honest, because going there and then like coming back home, I realized so much stuff is different. They have no source of technology. Like, they like to talk to each other, and they're more people before technology. And I feel like with me, I'm more technology before people. Yes. So I'm really like reliable with my phone and all the technology around me.
You feel the same way, Dasha? I mean, what I get from that answer is fewer distractions in a place like Costa Rica, and therefore more interaction, more socialization. What did you get from all of this?
Yes, I also understood that it doesn't take a lot to be happy. I think that a lot of times we kind of just get wrapped up in making sure that we have the newest clothes or like the newest shoes that just dropped, but really in reality, you don't need all of that to be happy. And I feel like the people of Costa Rica, they really exhibit that through their day-to-day lives, you know?
It changes your perspective, does it not?
Absolutely.
When you realize, look how happy they are, and maybe they don't have half the stuff that you have, pero están feliz, right? Is that the kind of life-changing perspective that you guys hope to see in the students who go on these trips?
Yes, 100%. Seeing them be more appreciative, seeing them want to be leaders and take action as they did, you know, creating that school in Costa Rica, remodeling it. Seeing that change within them is the most impactful.
What did you learn about climate change or poverty on your trip in becoming a more active global citizen?
So what we learned with poverty is over there, their homes all look alike. So when we spent the day with the locals, I spent a day with a lady called Maria, and walking into her house, it was so different. Like, you've seen all the cement, and you've seen like the roof was made with metal.
Yeah.
I feel like there, yes, there is poverty, but they make it work. So they have solutions. They use all their resources.
So in Costa Rica, they're very big on sustainability.
Yes.
Not only reducing and recycling, but mostly on the reusing part. Because if we get to reusing and not really going to the recycling part, we end up saving a lot more and cutting down on our CO2 emission. So a lot of what we did in Costa Rica was making sure that we reuse resources, especially when we were painting the schools. Reusing the paint, trying to save up a little as
Yeah, nothing is wasted.
Exactly.
For sure. And what you bring in, you bring out. It's like going to a national park here. You don't leave the basura behind, okay? So that's very focused. You're a senior in high school?
Yes.
Do you know what you want to do after high school in terms of a career?
I want to work with kids. I love working with kids.
Okay.
So when I heard that I was painting a school in Costa Rica for the kids, it made me so excited because I want to give back to the younger generation.
In selecting students to go on these trips, what type of individual are you looking for?
We are looking for individuals that are committed to being global leaders, that are very big on wanting to be youth activists and wanting to make a change in the world.
What are those values and those attitudes? Because your paperwork says 95% of global kids leaders demonstrate the values and attitudes of global citizens. What are those values and attitudes?
Those values are having integrity, making sure that you are being academically successful, that you are a well-rounded individual, that you are curious, that you want to learn, and that you want to experience the world.
And having an attitude that says, I'm ready to lend a helping hand. Congratulations, girls. What a great trip. You're going to have that forever. And what a good memory it'll be. Our thanks to Leslie Canon, Amarilis Ceballos, and Dasha Melendez Garcia. You can catch the full conversation on an upcoming edition of Tiempo, Sunday morning at 11:30 on Channel 7. And as we continue with Eyewitness News Extra Time, how about a live look outside? Meteorologist Jeff Smith joins us with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast. Time now for a look at the exclusive AccuWeather forecast. And Jeff, I know full harvest moon tonight. The question is, will we see it?
Yeah, going to be hard pressed to see that moon because we have a lot of cloud cover out there. We had some sunshine earlier, but clouds are kind of ruling the roost, and that'll continue into the overnight hours and into tomorrow. And eventually we have some rain coming into the picture as well. 74 right now in Central Park after getting up to 79 earlier this afternoon, a good 3 degrees above normal for this time of the year. 93, the record back in 1991. 5 years earlier in 1986, it got all the way down to 45 degrees, and look at that sunset time, 7:01 p.m. sun rising, 6:40 in the morning. So the sun's setting in literally 3 minutes from now. 75 at Morristown, but you're only in the upper 60s down the Jersey Shore and on eastern Long Island, courtesy of this wind coming in from the east-northeast. You might get a chance to see that full harvest moon, by the way, north and east of New York City, where you have less in the way of cloud cover. But the clouds will be increasing region-wide overnight tonight ahead of this weather maker, which has been wreaking havoc across portions of the Carolinas. That'll move off to the north and spread a little bit of rain in here by tomorrow afternoon and especially tomorrow night. Rather cloudy, staying mild overnight tonight. We're down to about 67 for a low. Cloudy, more humid. A little bit of rain in the afternoon. One thing to be aware of, we're coming off a dry stretch. There's a lot of oils in the asphalt, and as it rains out, you get that first rain in a while, it can actually make the roadways a little bit slick to start out. So watch for that later on tomorrow afternoon. Again, 74 for a high, overcast with occasional rain tomorrow night, back down into the middle 60s. It's a bit of rain on Thursday, especially east of New York City. North and west of the city, there could actually be a couple of breaks of sun, 76. Some rain a possibility still on Friday, maybe even a steadier batch of rain across coastal areas where it could stay in the 60s, 71 in Midtown. We break out into some sunshine by Saturday afternoon, about 72. And look at that, the first day of fall will feel the part. A cool breeze Sunday, 70. First full day of fall, only 69 for a high. Joe, we'll send it back over to you.
All right, sunset 1 minute away.
Yes.
Just about. Jeff, thank you. That wraps up this edition of Eyewitness News Extra Time. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Joe Torres. We're back live for Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock And we hope to see you then.